We don't have a rug yet. We don't have our chairs yet. We don't have any artwork yet, but we have shelves. Welcome to my library makeover part 1. It was time to finally move the bookshelves out of our bedroom and into its own dedicated space. It is finally time to create our dream library. This has been something that I wanted to do for a very long time. We came to a realization that we had 4 rooms in this house. We had 3 people, 2 slept in one room and 1 slept in another room. And so that meant we had 2 rooms that were really being misused. Now I'm very privileged to have a big, wonderful, beautiful house. Me and my husband work really hard to pay for it, and we have 1 daughter. So we have a few extra rooms that we really could just do whatever we want with. We've recently moved my daughter from the main floor down to the basement. She's gotten a much bigger room and she's getting older now, so she's gonna start wanting her own space. So that meant me and my husband could finally build our dream library. I'm gonna take you guys along on the journey. We're gonna start with taking apart the old room, getting rid of all the junk, cleaning it out, painting, and then finally moving everything back in. There's a few reasons why we wanted to build a dream library. For the most obvious reason, it's because we wanted a dedicated space for our books. Me and my husband love to read. He has his own collection, I have my own collection, and we were really just growing out of the space in our bedroom. That's where we are keeping our books currently. We were running out of space. We were utilizing 3 bookshelves that we got from Canadian Tire. They're not as wide as the IKEA shelves, but they look really great. They're this beautiful light oak color. We needed more bookcases, but we simply just didn't have enough wall space in our bedroom. We want to dedicate a space not only to the books, but being a creator on the internet, I really wanted a dedicated space where I could film and talk about books and have everything in front of me and really build up this amazing space. So the plan is we need to redo the room. There are some things that we need to touch up with paint before moving in the bookshelves. We did purchase 3 extra bookshelves, so that plus the 3 that we already have will make 6 bookshelves for the room. Should be more than enough for our books for quite a while. And we're also going to have a bookshelf dedicated to my daughter in here. As you can see, I've already tried to move in the TBR cart, and it's just living in here until we get the rest of the books in. And then we have to purchase stuff to furnish this room. While we're going through this move, me and my husband are going to be reorganizing our books, putting them where we want them, making more sense of how we're, putting these shelves together, and I have some wish list items. One wish is I want to be able to display my favorite books. I think it's so cool to have the covers turned out on some of our favorite books. We want to use these books kind of as decorative pieces as well. Wish list item number 2 is I want an empty shelf where I can put the books that I'm currently reading or that I have just finished reading on. I've seen a few other creators do this, and I love this idea so much. So at the beginning of March, we're working with 8 to 12 books, and as I read through them, I want to put them on a dedicated shelf where they can live until they are put into their forever homes after the month is over. Another wishlist item is I really want to create a vibrant and colorful yet cozy space that we can kind of come into and relax and kind of unwind for the day. We do a lot of our reading in the evening, obviously after work, after dinner, and before bed. So I just wanted to create a really quiet, cozy space where we could come in and kind of just get lost in the books. So this video is going to be broken up into 2 parts. The first part, we're going to kind of demo per se. We're not really knocking anything down, but we're going to be taking old items out. We're going to be sweeping and cleaning. We're going to be painting, and then we're going to be prepping the room for moving things in. So if you've watched some of my previous videos, I have filmed in my bedroom before. The room I always kind of talked about as being unfinished, and I think that's because the books were nice in our room for the time being, but we started looking at the books all the time, thinking about books all the time, laying there, staring at the bookshelves, and it started to feel a little unhealthy that we weren't being able to get away from the books. So we decided that it would be a really good idea to probably move them out, obviously expand the library, and Honestly, I feel like getting our room back is going to be kind of a highlight of this move because that's like one of the last rooms that we have yet to spend some time and money on. And I'm really excited to make that a really cozy bedroom. So the books had to go. We do still have some floating shelves in there. So, books may live in there. Some of the ones that I want to keep close to me, it's not necessary to keep all my books in there anymore. As you can see in some of the videos and some of the footage, the shelves were kind of bending and sagging because my husband had overloaded his shelves with as many books as he could fit because he was the first one to really run out of space. Like I said before, this room was my daughter's room. When we first moved into the house, we wanted to keep her close. She was right across the hallway from us, and we were going to originally paint over the blue and white stripes when we first moved in, but my daughter seemed like she really liked them. She seemed like she was okay with them being there, so we just kind of left them. A lot of the prep for this library makeover was moving her and out and organizing her things and going through her stuff and getting rid of the things that we didn't need. I don't have that filmed here. You'll just have to trust me that had to happen before we were able to come into this main floor room and start making it over. So first things first, we definitely had to get rid of the blue and white paint. Somebody did a really spectacular job painting these, but you could tell that this house really was in its prime during the early 2000s because every wall in this house had an accent wall, and this one had the stripes. So the first thing I knew I wanted to do was make it neutral, make it the same color as all the other walls, because we were gonna just plan to have bookshelves in front of this wall anyways, so it didn't need to be an accent color, it didn't need to be a special color. We were just going to, almost cover the entire wall with bookshelves. So I just painted it beige, and I got really lucky. I found some paint in our basement from when we moved in. The homeowners left all the paint down in the basement that they used throughout the house. So I carried this huge jug of paint from downstairs upstairs, and I started preparation for paint. That included taking all the tacks and nails out of the wall, taping up the border of the floor, the trim, and taping off some of the outlets because I didn't want to get paint on the outlet covers. And then we had to start painting, and this took quite a few coats. And there's a few reasons for that, and maybe you can tell by watching the video, but the paint was old. It's been here a while. It hadn't been touched for a few years, and the jug of paint was gigantic. So stirring it with just like a paint stick was not an option. I had to go to the dollar store and basically buy a wooden handle for a broom and mix it like I was churning butter because this jug of paint was just so gigantic. So I think one of the reasons why it was going on really spotty and watery was because I was not able to mix it properly. And it was supposed to be a paint and primer in one. I don't know if it truly was. It did do an okay job covering the paint. However, I did need, like I said, 3 coats, so I'm not sure if it was because the blue was just so dark or if my paint was just not correct. However, we powered through it anyways, and we got our coats going. I used rollers. That was the fastest way to do it, and I did kind of the interior of the wall first, and then I worked on the exterior, the perimeter of the wall with a small brush at first, but then I decided I wanted to actually use a smaller roller because you was getting a much more even coat of paint while doing those edges. And then to get to the very tippy top of the ceiling and the wall, I just used a very small little artist paintbrush and put some, beige paint on there, did the wall, and then I actually touched up the ceiling with white paint because the previous people that had painted the wall blue got some blue on the ceiling. So I had to touch up the ceiling as well. Hello, welcome to the library. As you know, we've been turning this newly spare room into our future library, and I wanted to give you an update on what's going on. First of all, I apologize for the echo in the room. We literally just have wood floors and bare walls. walls. There's really not anything in here to help with the sound, but that will change eventually. Also, don't laugh at my helmet bangs, okay? This is a bad bang day, I'm not proud. Currently standing in front of the wall where our bookcases are going to go. As you have seen, we had to do a lot of painting to get to this point. After 3 coats of the beige, I think we are finally safe to say that it is covered. Today, what I have to do is go up to the trim and touch up the trim. So lucky me. Once I put a coat of beige up at the top of the wall and then do another coat of white for the ceiling, I think I will be happy enough to start moving the bookcases in. And then we're going to build 3 additional. And I'm not sure, I think we're gonna fit like 4 along this wall and then maybe one on the joining wall here and one on the joining wall here. Not sure yet. We may do we're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna have to get the bookshelves in here and see what we can configure. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna do that today. I actually have to film later, and I'm like, what if I film in this room, the future library room? So it'd be cool if I could get this touch-up paint done and get these bookcases in the room. So that's the goal for right now. So after painting was done and I finally was able to move out all, like the ladder and the plastic and peel the paint tape off of the wall, it was time to work on taking out some of the other furniture that was left over in the room. I was clearing it off. I tried to clean it. Here you can see my husband, he so diligently worked hard on building all the bookshelves, while I sometimes I just stood around and I didn't know what to do. But then also I was like, hey, I can start taking the books off the shelves that we currently have and moving those bookshelves into the room while he's building. So we started putting the shelves together, trying to decide where we wanted them on the wall. We weren't sure if we were gonna do kind of like a U-shaped library or an L-shaped library. Turned out we didn't have enough space to make a U-shaped library. I think that's what we were aiming for. However, that's okay. We do have a longer wall, so we were able to make an L-shaped library instead. Me and my husband kind of went back and forth about what we wanted to do as far as like where his books were gonna go and where my books were gonna go. I did want them kind of split at first, but after thinking it over, it made no sense. I just gave him the 3 that were along one wall because I knew I kind of wanted a corner. I'm trying to think also of like filming space. So I knew I wanted a corner. And so I took the 3 on the right side of the room and he took the 3 on the left side of the room. By him getting that straight wall of shelves, his area looks so much larger than my area. But again, we have the same amount of shelves, we have the same amount of bookcases. So I don't know why his space looks bigger, but it just does. So I have my cozy little corner and I started just trying to get books in here. My husband thought it'd be a good idea to have some shelves built before we took books off the shelves. And so we had somewhere to set them. And I think that was a good idea because we would have had just piles of books everywhere. But just a little secret, we did end up having books everywhere. Anyways, they took over the bed. So we finally decided how we were finally going to set up the bookshelves. And then we started playing with our books and deciding where we wanted them. I just laid mine all flat at first because I knew I was not in the headspace to like commit to anything seriously. I knew I was gonna have to like sit on this new setup for a while before I decided where I wanted my books. I actually did film a video in here. You might have seen it already. It was the how I choose my TBR every month video. And I actually was filming in this space. I did that video in front of my 3 bookshelves and you can see that all the books are just like laid flat. I kind of had an idea where they were gonna go, but at that point I still wasn't committed to where they were. So after sweeping and sweeping and still finding little beads rolling around all the floor, we finally decided. I just one day on a whim was like, you know what? Our chairs aren't here. We don't have a rug. We don't have any artwork yet, but I want to sit in this room and I want to read in here. So I took our living room chair, as you can see here, and I moved it into the room along with our living room table. So now our living room looks a little out of sorts because I stole the furniture and put it in here. So yeah, I wanted to do a little test drive of the room. I got everything kind of where I wanted it. I put the chair in the corner of the room. I put the table in front of it, and man, it was feeling like a vibe. At this point, the books still weren't super organized yet, but that's okay. We had plenty of time to organize the books. But yeah, I just wanted to be in here. I wanted to read in here and I wanted to see how it felt. And you know what? It felt so good. Once I finally committed to moving my books where I wanted them, the ideas started flowing. I did take into consideration the shelves that you would be able to see during filming. So most of my favorites are going to be kind of on the middle two shelves. And then we've got some contemporary on the bottom. We've got, because my cart is not the only space that I have unread books on, I have a shelf dedicated to like sequels and stuff that I need to read after I read some of these. So we do have a shelf dedicated to those. And then on the like top two shelves, it's all about vibes. Like it's all about just displaying some of my favorite books. And I have so much space left over that I was able to turn a book or two on each shelf. And honestly, two of my favorite shelves is obviously my Empyrean series shelf and my Callie Hart Quicksilver shelf. I also have a shelf dedicated to the Mortal Instruments series and obviously some of Cassandra Clare's other work. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I even have a Once Upon a Broken Heart series shelf with a little white fox. So right now I'm feeling pretty great. The library is kind of in this unfinished state. However, the books have found their new home and I love to just come in here and I love to feel inspired and I love to be kind of just transported away from this world and kind of dropped into some of my favorite worlds that I've read in the past few years. Also, I love seeing the difference between my husband's shelves and my shelves. There's such a difference because he reads literally the opposite type of books that I read. However, it's just so fun to see a lot of these genres represented on our shelves. I'm really excited to get the new furniture in here. So our 2 new chairs come this coming weekend. It's currently Monday, so I have to wait a whole week. And then we have to start shopping. I know the items that I need. I just don't know where I'm gonna get them from. We need a rug. We need curtains. We need like a few lamps to get that cozy feel in here. And we need some greenery. We need some fake plants. I'm done with real plants, y'all. Between my cats eating them, between them being poisonous, and between them dying because they're not, I don't know, getting enough water or sun, I'm switching back to fake plants. But I want some fake candles in here. I want some fake plants in here. I want some artwork for the wall. I would even love to, and this won't be anytime in the near future, but this closet back here, I would love for it to be like mirrors. There's some beautiful images. I'll try to pop them up here. There's some beautiful images of like modern style bifold closets that have mirrors. And I think it would open up the room so much and make the room feel twice as big and make it look like there's so many more books in here than there actually is. And so yeah, that's a goal for this. I hate these like yellow bifold doors. Also, eventually our house we'll paint all the doors. I feel like this is just like the stock color that came from the store. I don't know. I'm not a builder, but yeah, those are some wish list items that won't happen anytime soon. But yeah, curtain window treatment. We need a rug. We need some nice little cozy, like small throw pillows for these chairs. And I want like a cool blanket. We're going for like a green library vibe. My shelves are light oak and the walls are beige. So first of all, I wanted the colors to come out from the books a lot. Like I wanted those pieces to be the colorful pieces, but also the things that we're gonna add in, the furniture and art pieces that we're gonna add in are gonna be our colorful pieces as well. And I'm hoping that the rich jewel tone colors will really warm up and make the space feel so super cozy. This is the longest outro ever. That's what I'm excited for. Realistically, this has been over the span of a few weeks now, from idea to where we're at now. It's been like 3 or 4 weeks that we've been working on this project. I'm a 9-to-5 girly. I work Monday through Friday. I have a daughter. We have to feed her. We have to get her in bed. We have to make sure she's bathed and clean and all of these things. And then really at the end of the night, me and my husband only have a few hours to do what we want. And my time is either spent reading, filming, editing, posting, but I choose that. I put that on myself. So yeah, squeezing in a library makeover has not been easy. So just keep that in the back of your mind that realistically, this library is not being made over in a snap like the editing magic makes it look. So make sure you like and subscribe for part 2. I'm thinking that part 2 will probably be coming next month or before summer, let's say. I'm really not putting a hard deadline on it. It's really, we're just going by vibes at this point. I don't want to rush this process either, and I just don't want to fill the room with things that I'm not going to care about in a few years. I'm going to wait to find pieces that truly speak to me and that I really want in this space, and that takes time. So we may not have part 2 up right away, but I am going to be working on trying to find pieces that we want to put in this space. Leave a comment below what you would do to this space if you had a room that you could dedicate just to reading and just to books. I want to know down below, what things would you put in it? What vibe would you go for? What books would you have displayed on your shelves if you could have that option? If you made it this far in the video, make sure to leave a hammer in the comments below so that I know you made it to the end. I will see you next week for another video. Bye! Google Docs. Google Docs. Google Docs. They're how people say docs in the UK. The Google Docs. That's it. I did it.